You bet it does. Welcome into Monday's edition of The Big Show on your Total Sports Station, KTGR. Andy Humphrey, Brenden Schaefer here. How about yesterday? The Seahawks showed up. The Patriots, man, they did not. They did not at all. Drake May didn't.
No, he did not. He was a problem, but the Seahawks defense was a problem for Drake May and for everybody on that Patriots side. You're right, Andy. We talked about it Friday, the notion of having 2 weeks to prepare for this game as fans. We can talk ourselves into knots about it. It was the game that I thought it would be Sunday night of the NFC AFC championship games. By last Friday, I was worried it would be something different, but the Seahawks were dominant, balanced on both sides, and they took it to them.
So were they, in fact, that much better? We'll dive into our reactions to Super Bowl 60 here in just a few minutes. We, of course, want yours, how you thought the game went, what you were doing for the game, and everything else. Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR to chime in here on The Big Show. We'll talk about the NFL season, maybe being a bit of a weird one. These were not the two teams we expected to be in the Super Bowl. Is this kind of a changing of who we should view as the contending teams going forward? Because a lot of the teams that we thought were going to be there towards the end were not. Is that going to continue? We'll talk about that at 425. We'll have our Super Bowl draft recap and our picks of the week recap, all centered around the Super Bowl, 525. And of course, we'll talk some Mizzou. Basketball team looked good on Saturday. I mean, that was exactly what we wanted to see out of them in that game.
Business trip.
Did well in that business trip. 505, give us your thoughts on Mizzou hoops and where they go from here. And Mizzou softball coach Larissa Anderson joins us at 545 as well. 875-5847. If you want to call or text us, you can also see us live right now. Watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports and Facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Super Bowl 60 went decidedly the Seahawks' way in Santa Clara, California. They scored the first 19 points. We didn't see a touchdown until the fourth quarter, and then both teams started to score a bunch of them in succession. But ultimately, the Seahawks win 29-13. The MVP, Kenneth Walker, with 135 yards rushing. He didn't get in the end zone. There was one taken off the board for him because of a holding penalty. But he's the MVP, and he's the first running back to win that award since 1998. And oh, by the way, Drew Lock is a Super Bowl champion, former Mizzou quarterback, after rejoining the Seahawks this past offseason. He was with the Giants last year. 29-year-old Lee Summit native. He called himself a Super Bowl champion now after backing up Sam Darnold. That's the Big Show's big deal on this 9th day of February, 2026. Give us a call or text here at 573-875-KTGR for your Super Bowl reactions. I wanted Drew Lock to get in the game, man.
Yeah, me too.
Right towards the end.
It would have been. They probably just would have had him kneel down if he had. But I had that over 2.5 passers, and we didn't get a trick play. We didn't get a trick passer in the game.
No.
So that's all right.
I'm sure they would have wanted to. I mean, they just didn't get to it in the playbook some way, somehow. Maybe it was the Patriots
to feel like
do that.
Yeah, you have to feel like somewhere something like that exists. We saw a little Shaheed end around type of trickery, but that he's usually just trying to hold the ball and run. So nothing crazy. It was just pure dominance by the Seahawks, really.
I mean, it didn't look totally convincing through the first couple quarters, though. I mean,
the scoreboard wasn't
right,
for sure.
Like Seahawks were moving the football a lot better, and those stats were very much in their favor. But you can still see all of that and give a lot of credit to the Patriots defense for saying no touchdowns. Still, you're just gonna have to deal with a bunch of threes. Jason Myers set an NFL record with 5 field goals, but he didn't get MVP. Like, what are we doing?
No, wait a minute. Do you think he should have been?
I should have been considered.
No,
right?
I think if he had, what were the lengths of his kicks? He had some
I know
in the 40s.
They were not huge, long kicks. He did not have any kicks beyond 41 yards. He had 33, 39, 41, 41, and 26. I get it.
Okay, so longest was over 27 and a half. The shortest.
Shortest was under 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, 27 and a half. I didn't get that one right. But
who kicked it? What was the shortest on the other side? Was it?
What do you mean? Oh, shortest field goal for the Patriots?
Wasn't it? Didn't you
attempt
pick under 27 and a half as the? Oh, you said there would be a short one or there wouldn't be?
I said it would be over on the.
Yeah, so
the picks.
So I think you should have been correct in that, right?
No, because the shortest field goal made was under 27 and a half.
Who made it?
Jason Myers did.
You just said it was 33. Was there a short one?
There was.
Just rattled
I
off
said 26 at the end.
I didn't hear that. I was hearing the first four going, Andy, you won. And then I forgot about the 26.
The 26-yarder at the fourth quarter. And even then,
I didn't even remember that one happened.
Probably could have gone for it.
I mean,
it said 12 to 15. I mean, score a touchdown. Yeah,
I think it's right to just say, like, you got to score 2 touchdowns and an extra point to be able to tie us, or a 2-pointer, I should say, to be able to tie us. I was okay with a conservative game plan when you're that much better than the other team. I think actually makes sense. I think Mike McDonald did a nice job last night.
Yeah, the way that his defense was playing throughout the first 3 quarters, you have absolutely no problem with taking 3 as much as they did in the spots that they did. And I mean, it wasn't necessarily like it was, for sure, got to go for it type of fourth down either. They were like 4th and 6, 4th and 7, not complete slam dunks. So, I mean, the fact that the Seahawks just went ahead and piled up as much as they could and relied upon a defense that was a top 3 defensive performance in a Super Bowl by at least
ever. Yeah.
It rivals what the 85 Bears did. And I mean, just the complete domination of the front 4 where they can just make things tough on Drake May without having to send anybody extra, and they still get 7 sacks out of it.
Oh, but when they did send a couple, there were 2 first quarter blitzes that ended drives where you kind of see them coming and there's nothing they could do about it. The fact that, I mean, that was a really good game plan by Mike McDonald to say, I don't care if he was runner up for the MVP. Second-year quarterback, we are going to bring some exotic pressures within the first quarter to see what he's made of. And they found out that Drake May wasn't up to the moment that the Seahawks were bringing to him. Against another defense, maybe it's a different conversation. But like if it's Rams Patriots, maybe it's a different outcome. But Drake May was not ready for what the Seahawks were throwing at him. And Mike McDonald did a good job of picking his spots early to kind of get May on his heels pretty quick.
Because he didn't get to 50 passing yards until like end of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think he ended the third with about 60 because he set a record for fourth quarter passing yards, I think, which is, I don't even hold that against the Seattle defense in evaluating the performance because that was garbage time. I mean, the whole quarter was garbage time because of what they had built over the first 3 quarters. And you're right, it's 9-0 at half. And at that point, it already felt like, even though it's only a 9-point game, the Patriots were going to need Sam Darnold to make a catastrophic mistake or like Ken Walker fumble or something was going to have to happen akin to the Stidham fumble in the AFC Championship game for the Patriots to be able to get back into this one. And to the credit of the Seattle offense, they didn't really make those types of mistakes. Darnold was threatening. I'll say early he got away with a couple that, might have been tipped, intercepted on another day. And it just, they didn't make the play. But by and large, the Seahawks played the clean type of game it needed, and the Patriots just didn't have enough offensively to be able to hang.
No, and the defenses, I think on both sides, were winning out so much, which created for what most say was kind of was boring. Like, I don't know if I want to watch. I miss Patrick Mahomes or something like that. Like,
please.
Something like.
Did Collinsworth say his name last night? Did Collins? That was another thing people were saying. Will he mention Mahomes because he's kind of infamous for doing so when it's not really related to Mahomes?
Yeah.
But I don't recall hearing
it. I was unable to hear every single word that Tirico and Collinsworth said. I'm sure they were great. In fact, I've been reading that Tirico was awesome. I would bet.
Isn't it weird that we have to read that though? Like if you've got people around and it's a kind of a chaotic environment, you're waiting for the commercials, and then you want to go get some more food, but you don't want to miss the commercials, and you don't really hear the commentary as much in a Super Bowl as you might any other game,
which kind of miss out on, because that's like the one event sports wise that you do want to hear the people who are supposedly best at this job calling the biggest events in sports.
We watch us sports commentators and radio people. We watch the Super Bowl for the commentators. We don't really watch it for the game. We sit under the covers in our bedroom by ourselves, and everybody else is out in the family room. And we're like, what is he? How's he going to analyze this decision to go for 4th and 3? That's kind of what we in this industry. That's what we care about the most. No, we don't really hear it because we're talking to our family. Our kids are running around, and it's kind of like you hear the next day what people said of the commentary. But what I recall hearing was great. Boring Super Bowl. Did you think it was boring? How do you evaluate just from the fan perspective?
Well, I tend to like when defenses tighten the screws, and so I didn't think it was all that boring. It made for more of like, okay, what does either coach have to do here to try and get things unstuck? Like, what adjustments do we see? And so, like the football nerd in me is like, okay, let's see what happened. What's McDonald going to do to finally get in the end zone? What's Vrabel going to say to Drake May to like, hey,
what's
dude,
Drake May
what is going on, buddy?
Okay, so Seattle was great. Front four, unbelievable. They put him under a lot of pressure. What did you think of Drake May? As we're evaluating the boring or not boring nature of the game, Drake May, what was he as bad as it felt like he was, or do you attribute more of it to Seattle's greatness?
I think I attribute it more to Seattle. I do think we kind of crowned Drake May a little quickly. This is what I was fearful of going into this Super Bowl is like, okay, Drake May has an excellent year. Like whatever, by any metric, like is in the MVP conversation and does so against good defenses. Like a lot's been made about the quarterbacks that the Patriots have. Drake May has faced very good defenses. Like that part of the Patriots schedule has not necessarily been as easy on them as people have led on to be. And so that part has been impressive about Drake May. I think he was playing the biggest game of his life and he just wasn't ready for it. And that happens to sometimes the best quarterbacks. Not everyone can rise to it the same way that Patrick Mahomes does, or other great quarterbacks that are Tom Brady, others that have Peyton Manning in his first Super Bowl was very good. Like there are just a tier above with the greatest of all time. And like, okay, in any moment you can count on them to have their best game. Drake May is an excellent player, and I think he'll play for a very long time. I just think that this first time that he gets a taste of it, it just gobbled him up because he was facing an unworldly defense as well.
And look, maybe he becomes a Mahomesian, one of those talents that shows up in the moment, which again, Mahomes has had bad Super Bowls. When it's happened, though, we've basically said, the O-line was, pretty atrocious and he got eaten alive, which is what happened to Drake May last night. But the reason that I said for 2 weeks leading up to this game that I thought Drake May wouldn't be the reason they would lose it, I thought he would hold his own, was because I thought if things were breaking down, he would just scramble. He would run. He would move. He would extend plays. And guys, he was a statue in the pocket of when it's like he was told, hey, don't leave the pocket early. Trust your scheme. Trust that somebody's going to come open. And I think whoever told him that, if that was the case, bad advice against the Seahawks defense, because I think they could have done well on a handful of plays. I'm not saying it was every play, but there were moments where it was like, Drake, I mean, that internal clock's got to be going, that if it didn't come open, you start moving, man. Step up, step out, roll out, do something, because he's got great mobility. He landed on 37 rushing yards, and I feel like a lot of it, he had a big one late. I think he just probably should have taken off and tried to be athletic more often than he did as the equalizer to what that defense was bringing. And I thought early, a lot of his passes did end up being kind of the check down variety. But early, I feel like he was trying to force stuff downfield where I don't know if it's a McDaniels question of should they have given him some more easy throws to get him in the rhythm of the game. But it was like they were going over the middle, downfield, 20 yards when I thought he wasn't equipped at that point in the game. He didn't have the confidence to be hitting those throws. And I just thought maybe Josh McDaniels didn't have a great night either when it came to trying to put May in a spot. I think you have to spread blame around, but I thought, man, they could have leaned a little bit more on Drake May's mobility to try and negate some of what Seattle was doing.
Yeah, I just don't think it should not be a referendum on Drake May. Now, if he gets far in the playoffs again, and
we're going to find out. He's got a whole career ahead of him.
Yeah, lays an egg again, then maybe you start to get big game questions about, oh, is he really built for this kind of thing? Like, what I fear is that, again, mentioned this last week, like Drake May will probably lose this Super Bowl, and next year he'll have a good season.
Yeah.
But it won't reach the MVP caliber numbers that he did this year. And are people going to have the reaction, especially New England fans who are so spoiled up there? They're like, oh, this guy stinks. Don't extend him. Like, no, stop. Like, he is.
We'll see what happens.
A very good, above average, at times top 10 worthy NFL quarterback in this league based on how he broke out in his sophomore season. So if he keeps to that type of standard and doesn't drop off like we've seen other quarterbacks do, then he'll stick around for a while. I don't know if that means he goes to another Super Bowl like that. Like we tend to count like, okay, you got there early enough. So that means you'll have, 2 or 3 more.
You got time.
You probably won't though. Like there's
who gets to one first? I would say again, who gets to the next Super Bowl? Jaden Daniels or Drake May? Daniels didn't get there last year, but he was a step first away. Who gets to the next Super Bowl first? Give you one NFC and one AFC. 2 young quarterbacks that people are very high on. The reason I bring up Daniels is it's like he had that great season, and then this past year, banged up, not on a good team. And so you can kind of see how quickly people said, Jaden Daniels, oh, he'll be back. Sure, you got one step away, but he'll be back. Well, we'll see. Time will tell on that, but time will tell on Drake May too.
I mean, I'd say probably Jaden Daniels.
I think it's May because I don't know that Daniels is in as good of a position.
Well,
with his,
I would not predict that it happens for Jaden Daniels in Washington.
Yeah, so he might need to be on a different team, but that's going to take some time. That's going to take a little while probably to happen.
No doubt.
And you know who's not made a Super Bowl is Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson has never made one, and we were also kind of doing this thing with Joe Burrow not a few too many years ago. And what's happened to him?
He's going to retire,
right? Yeah.
I mean,
so
you got to. I mean, Josh Allen obviously has now. Granted, that Mahomes we think is going to remain in the AFC for the duration of his career.
Yeah,
because we don't anticipate him leaving the Chiefs. I just don't see why it would have to happen. So like that's in most years that's going to be an impediment to any AFC quarterback. The NFC feels a little bit more wide open. I guess we could say that the Seahawks might just be a dynasty in the making. I think McDonald is a freak. I think he's a freak of nature in a good way as a coach. Where for him to establish that, like his system, his culture, and in year 2 with Sam Darnold as the quarterback win the Super Bowl. And I don't say that as like a pejorative, but let's be real. Even if we were to rank the top 15 quarterbacks in the league today, are we definitively naming Sam Darnold? Like,
right.
He's middle of the pack, I think, in the NFL and fits the system for what they're doing extremely well. But that's a credit to who Mike McDonald says, I don't want to make it about me. It's about the team. It's about you, bro. I mean, he's done very well for himself in those first 2 years.
Mike McDonald, I don't want to throw this name on him and
throw it out there.
And
it's
write
overreaction
checks
Monday.
that he probably can't cash because again, it is hard to get to a Super Bowl, but the way that he goes about it is very Belichickian.
I think it is,
without
stylistically.
without the prickliness, by the way.
I was going to say, without just being a jerk.
He's not a jerk, but he says nothing, and his team says nothing. And it just like he gives
his
credit to anywhere
really
but
like
themselves. Him. And players love him. And the entire building seems to be on point with each other. And I think that's rare.
In kind of a kumbaya way that I'm sure was not the case with Belichick. Like, people bought in New England because it worked. The proof was in the pudding.
Sure.
But, like, if I was listening to a lot of the radio coverage and different interviews, and it just seems like the culture he has established is like family-oriented. Again, I don't know maybe that's just it's the Super Bowl broadcast, and so they're saying nice stuff about you. But, like, it seems like he's really got the secret sauce to have done it this quickly. And it's not as though we look up and we're like, oh, well, here's of course they're great. They've got so-and-so at quarterback, or like even Kenneth Walker, who wins Super Bowl MVP. I wouldn't have picked it because it'd been so long since a running back has done it. But it's not like people were talking about, he wasn't even the preferred running back a month ago on his own team.
Yeah.
I mean, Charbonnet before his injury was he was the goal line back. He was the more trusted player. Now, as part of that, all along, you're like, let's keep fresh legs for Walker because he's going to be a weapon as a change of pace when we get to the playoffs. And then he wasn't a change of pace. He was just the offense because of the Charbonnet injury, and it all works out to a T. Yeah, they may have the best wide receiver in the NFL. Jackson Smith-Njigba won Offensive Player of the Year. He didn't contribute last night. He gets not concussed, but had to go to the locker room and came back and got to play. I feel like if you walk back to the locker room because of the concussion check, it's a surprise to get back in the game, but it's a Super Bowl, so it happened. But like, they didn't win last night because of JSN necessarily. That defense, and look at that draft class the last 2 years, the defensive players that front office has gone out. There is some synergy in Seattle that is maybe unmatched right now in the National Football League, and it's why, as we kind of circle back when I asked the May versus Daniels question, maybe the NFC is not that wide open because Seattle is not going anywhere. And Matt Stafford's already said he's coming back to the Rams, who've got a bunch of cap space and a bunch of draft picks, and I don't think they're necessarily going anywhere, at least this next year. So for other NFC quarterbacks, like if you're Jalen Hurts thinking, we're the Eagles, we're going to get right back to it, man, they've got some figuring out to do. Anybody else, you might have to run through the Rams and Seattle just to find a way into the NFC Championship game moving forward, because those are maybe the two franchises best positioned heading into a new season. But last night put the capper on the season we just saw, and it was pretty well wire to wire by Seattle, which is just really impressive.
Yeah, you don't see that a ton. We've obviously seen it back-to-back years now with
it happens NFC more than maybe we give credit for. I mean,
there have been some lopsided Super Bowls, no doubt. The close ones are just, we think about them more and we think they happen more often, but they really don't. But last couple years, NFC's blown out the AFC. The college football brain in me is like, well, shoot,
I know.
Maybe the AFC doesn't deserve an auto bid in the Super Bowl. Tell you, gotta rethink this whole model.
We'll let the committee get into it. No, I mean, you just look back, and obviously we had a good run. The Rams-Cincy one was phenomenal, and then the two Chiefs ones against Philly, against San Francisco were, all-timers, really, both of them.
Yeah.
But the Super Bowl where Tampa whooped up on the Chiefs because they couldn't protect Mahomes, the Chiefs win over San Francisco before that it was pretty good, but by the time it got to the fourth quarter, we knew who was winning that game. You could look at half of the last six and say they weren't really competitive. The one before that was New England just dominating the Rams, and then the Rams only scored 3.
Now, that was a boring Super Bowl. That there was very boring.
That was a boring Super Bowl, and I wanted it to be because the St. Louis Rams thing was still too fresh for me to see them win.
Yeah.
So I was cool with the way the Patriots dominated them there. Last night, was it boring? I guess that depends on whether or not, Andy, you had Seahawks minus 4.5. Because I tell you, I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought it was a blast.
Well,
and if I may, Mike Vrabel,
my gosh,
you are both my kings. Because all year, I lost money on TreVeyon Henderson. And TreVeyon Henderson, the last play of this Super Bowl, just gets a little dump off for 24 yards and made me some wealth. And it was so enjoyable. I mean, that garbage time drive, I had lots of ways that I could have won some money on the Patriots. And the one that it comes through for me after I said I wasn't going to bet on him, TreVeyon Henderson gets to 20 receiving yards, cashes me in. That was a lot of fun. That was great.
I'll tell you what Vrabel didn't do.
What did he not do?
Down 19-6. You go for 2.
you do have to go for 2 there. You absolutely go for 2.
You have to go for 2.
We were texting about this, and you're right, and I agreed with it. But again, I had Seahawks minus 4.5, and I was looking at that going, you know what? They kicked that they score again. It's only going to be a 5-point game because they're not incentivized to go for it the second time. And so I'm like, that was the moment when they didn't go for 2. I'm like, oh man, the Seahawks are for sure covering the spread. This is awesome. Like Vrabel locked it in that moment. Oh man. Fun Super Bowl. I didn't have a problem with it. This is the most fun I've had in the Super Bowl in a while because everything was coming up Brenden with the way I predicted the game to go. So thank you, Jurisdiction of Legality, because let's do this again next year. If all of them are like this with a legal jurisdiction, I'm going to have a lot of fun.
Vrabel's back in the bottom 5, by the way.
For that decision.
That
was
bottom
pretty cowardly. And there were some,
Bottom
I
five.
mean, there was a 4th and 1, Andy, short side. I get it. You're not even to midfield, but it's 4th and 1, brother. It's a Super Bowl. You're down by 2 possessions. You gotta go. You gotta go score.
Did it lose in the game? No, but buddy, no math.
That shot and they showed Vrabel kind of like calling his offense off the field. I thought that's just such a cowardly shot. And by the way, one other thing I had meant to mention in the conversation surrounding Drake May, and this might just sound like, hindsight is 2020, but when they do the on-field interview with the 2 sideline reporters, I think Melissa Stark was with Drake May. Dude, were you watching that?
I watched it back earlier. Yeah,
he was standing there with his kind of looking macho. It almost felt performative to me. And in that moment, I was like, "Well, is Drake May afraid of this moment?" And he can't even kind of play it natural with Melissa Stark on the field before the game. I watched that live and said, "I think he's about to get cooked."
And the part that was drawing criticism from that, and maybe a little bit from Melissa Stark's side, is that interview happened. She asked 2 questions. Then Drake May leaves, and then she updates on May's shoulder.
Yeah.
And he said, apparently Drake told her, oh, yeah, I feel good. And then she didn't ask him about it in the interview and then just decided to oh, right, by the way, he said his shoulder's good and he's ready to get. That also felt a little weird to me because you should just ask it in the interview.
Was she avoiding putting him on the spot of having to talk about it in the moment?
That was weird.
It was weird, but I thought the interview itself, just his demeanor. And again, if he had gone and lit up the world and was MVP of the Super Bowl, obviously this would sound, I wouldn't have brought it up, right? But I did in the moment watch that and go, he was a little, not even prickly, but just almost he was putting on a facade to try to convince himself he was pumped up for this Super Bowl. And I felt in that moment, I'm like, I don't think he's ready for this. And then again, that is the way that it played out. If I hadn't bet Seahawks 2 weeks ago, in that moment, I would have ran to my phone and bet him then because I'm like, I don't know about this with Drake May, but he's going to have other opportunities, maybe not in the Super Bowl, but he'll have his chances to get there because he's a franchise quarterback. But good for Sam Darnold. If we didn't say it, we should say it. Good for Sam Darnold for kind of completing the storybook journey and getting that Super Bowl ring. I think he's riding the teacups with Kenneth Walker today. So that's
great.
That's good stuff.
Those things make you queasy, but good on them.
Never been on him. Kind of don't want.
I can't. I really don't think I could do them anymore.
When you get older, and I mean older, we're in our 30s, but I used to ride the rides like a crazy man on the carnival and different stuff. And there was even a time in my mid-20s where I did the boat ride somewhere, and I was like, this isn't for me anymore. I don't think I do rides. I don't rides anymore.
Kids can do it. You go
kids
on,
have fun, kids.
Go right ahead. I'm gonna stay back. Yeah, watch, take pictures. 875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text. Was Seattle just that much better than New England yesterday? We'll also talk about the season as a whole. Would not have predicted those 2 teams in the Super Bowl. Is it fair to say that we might see more topsy-turviness next year in the NFL? That's next year on The Big Show.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Word gets around. And at Lee's Tire Company, that's why being around for you is more than just a catchy jingle. It's how they stay part of the community. We took a look and everything seems to be fine. That new set of tires is all you need. That's the Lee's Tire way. No pressure, no suspicious upsells. Just honest work done right. So whether it's tires, brakes, or a quick checkup, trust the shop that's always round for you.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
Step into a real-life snow globe with Zimmer Communications and Colette Travel on this 9-day European vacation. Stroll Prague, Dresden, Vienna, and Budapest. From castles and cathedrals to twinkling market stalls. Sip warm Glühwein, shop handcrafted gifts, and even visit a family-run candy workshop. Learn more by joining us in Colette Travel Tuesday, March 17th at 5:30 at Courtyard Marriott Columbia on Lamone Industrial Boulevard. RSVP today at ZimmerCommunications.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Colombia. Coco writes, Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Crutch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
Welcome to every gym in January. Membership prices, crazy high. Crowds, even worse. All just wait in line for a bench. Or, hear me out, you could build your own home gym from Play It Again Sports. Free weights, dumbbells, plates, treadmills, ellipticals, benches, racks, and more. New and used. At prices that don't feel like a crime. No crowds, no monthly fees, no awkward eye contact with Chad curling on the squat rack. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
Life has many sweet sounds, whether it's being enchanted by the coo of a baby, enthralled by the refrain of a favorite song, or even enlightened by a celebration. Hearing connects, informs, and engages us with the world. At Hearing Aid Consultants, helping people hear better is our passion. Set your hearing baseline now so you don't miss the sweet sounds of life.
Hearing Aid Consultants in Allmake Repair Lab. We are here for you today so you can hear tomorrow. HearingAidConsultants.com.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald.
And I'm Charlie Sticklin with the Sticklin & Sticklin Law Firm.
And I'm Mizzou Softball's Natalie Touche. At Sticklin & Sticklin, all we do is personal injury.
We've earned millions for our clients since 1991.
On the diamond, I trust my team. Off the diamond, I trust Sticklin & Sticklin. Don't let the insurance companies strike you out. Let Sticklin & Sticklin go to bat for you. Sticklin & Sticklin, it's a home run.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Super Bowl 60 goes to the Seahawks. Call or text us with what you thought about how it went down. 875-KTGR here on The Big Show as the Seahawks get their second Super Bowl in the last 12 years, right? They won that one where they just dominated defensively against the Broncos.
I believe that was right.
Peyton Manning, and that was a bloodbath of a Super Bowl.
That was the Peyton It's Time, brother. Super Bowl.
How about Seahawks fans, man? You got 2 Super Bowls and none of them were at all like stressful. Well, you probably stressed out a little bit, but like in the end, you're like, oh yeah, we're doing this. Yeah.
And the one that you didn't win was it couldn't have been more devastating. I would take that 2 for 1. You have to take that over a dozen-year span. You know,
I agree. That's what sports is about, the highs and lows.
Yep,
so, I mean, you take that for sure. Seahawks get it done yesterday. And you think for sure that they're here to stay? Like this is a team that consistently like puts themselves in position for this, maybe not into the Super Bowl, but at least, Final Four type of team every year that you got to deal with, that you got to ticket for at least 10 wins every year and got to deal with them now.
I'm going to say yes. I mean, how are they built? They're built with the defense first.
Yeah.
I think the defense is the most. I've talked about their balance, and they are balanced. They're one of the top scoring teams in the league this year, but their defense is the best in the league, and it's got a bunch of young guys. They just drafted all these guys in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You've got like a DeMarcus Lawrence, and they brought in the right veterans to supplement, but look, if they have another draft like the last 2, they're in trouble. The league's in trouble, folks, because I just think that's very sustainable when you're built from the defense out, and they don't even looking at their offense. Yeah, JSN, that's a guy you want to keep and build around, but they don't really have, Ken Walker's a free agent. They're probably going to try to keep him now, but again, Sam Darnold, is he the 14th best quarterback in the NFL today? Some give or take. If I set the over-under at 13.5,
Right.
Would it be tough to answer the question? Okay, if
so.
so, they're not winning because of him. They're winning because of their system, and I think the head coach is just getting warmed up.
You could make the argument that last year's Super Bowl winner was very similar, right? What's Jalen Hurts? Is he a top 10 quarterback? Is he?
I would have said he was before this year. I would have said he was before now, but now I guess I can't be sure.
Right? And they won that Super Bowl by just making Mahomes run for his life, and there was no contest at all because of that. And just the teams that were at the top this year. Denver, great defense. Pretty good quarterback. It got you by. Certainly with Bo Nix.
I would say it's comparable to Darnold. I would say it's comparable to Darnold.
Jacksonville's an interesting case of Trevor Lawrence did take step forwards this year, but is Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback? Maybe.
Would you take Trevor over Darnold and Bo Nix?
I guess, probably.
I think I would.
Yeah. That's a different type of conversation at the moment because he had all kinds of hype coming in the league, and now he's starting to realize it. I mean, again, Seattle was up there. Rams, obviously, great offense. Their defense had some issues going for it. But, generally speaking, the teams that got far in these playoffs were teams that didn't necessarily think, we need a huge difference-maker quarterback that's top 5 in the league and is going to carry us on his back until we get to that point. No, their defenses were and overall team units. I mean, it's for infrastructure was the main thing, I think, for a lot of those teams that ended up in the end. But pass rush and defensive integrity.
Let's talk O-line too is probably a good factor. I mean,
sure.
I don't think the O-line stood out necessarily for Seattle, but they clearly, gave Darnold the time to do what he needed. Part of the, us giving so much credit to Seattle is probably something that we need to be willing to say, the Patriots O-line was a problem. It was part of the reason for their downfall in the game, and that left side of the line just didn't hold up.
And so it's going to be interesting now for the NFL that might be, I'm not going to say evolving, but before these last few years, it was, okay, you've got a stud quarterback. Okay, then you can expect to be at least in the divisional round, probably in the championship game, and the quarterback can get you there. And for the most part, that was true. It was a quarterback-driven league for a lot of it. Is it different now? Do you now have to, I'm not saying don't prioritize the quarterback position, but don't splurge to get the top 5 guy and just make sure that you have a set baseline of this will not beat me at the quarterback spot. And now I got to load up on defense, on offensive line, on creating the type of stability there that can sustain me for a little bit longer.
I think quarterback is still obviously the most important position on the field, and it's still the most important position in sports. But I think as passing has been devalued a little bit, it's not as much of a passing league. When you look at the percentages, teams are running more. And I think that's a response to the shell coverages that we saw kind of really come into vogue with Mahomes, and teams were trying to figure out how to stop those really productive passing games. We see the ebbs and flows. There is going to be that aspect to now, all right, what's the next iteration, and does it at some point bend back the other way? But I think the answer to the question is you can't do it with quarterback alone. You got to have some of those other things. And that might be a bad wake up call to realize if you're the Chiefs, because I do think that they got the quarterback, but what do they have else right now that we're confident in? And I would say not much, to be totally honest with you. I'm not saying they're dreadful necessarily anywhere, but I think across the board they've got work to do, and I don't know if that work happens in one draft. Maybe it does if free agency is added in, Andy, but to bring it to a Chiefs angle, that might be a bit of a concern for Kansas City if that's the case.
That is what is going to be fascinating, because the Chiefs don't have a whole they're $50 million over the cap right now. They have to. They'll obviously figure it out to get under the cap eventually, but it will probably still limit them as the free agents that they could go and get.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, crucial draft. Got to get 9 right. And if you ask me, based on how champions have built their teams recently, I don't know how you don't just get the best pass rusher available. If Ruben Bain's there, why do you pass up on him?
Yeah.
Like, how do you do it? I would not be able to.
I think you're right.
Yes.
Seeing the way that Super Bowl was won last night.
Yeah.
Maybe that's reactionary, but I think it works.
And look, I get it. Jeremiah Love might be there. Yeah, it'd be nice.
You know what? Pay the guy that won the MVP last night, or pay Breece Hall and get it over with. I don't care what the cap is. Figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think Kenneth Walker's going anywhere, though.
If I'm Seattle, I'm not letting him.
Do not.
Although it would be very much like very Belichickian to say, yeah, we know he helped us win a Super Bowl, but we're on the margins, we're gonna decide that Charbonnet and this other guy we're about to draft in the 4th round is actually gonna get us replicable production, and we'll I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how they approach that.
Well, but sure. I mean, Charbonnet might not even be ready start of the year, right? Like, that's kind of in question. He was injured in January? So,
that's a fair point.
Could be. I mean, it will be interesting as free agency how much he gets. I have no doubt about that. If I were a Seahawks fan and they let him go, I'd be livid.
I think so too. Because
Yeah.
you're dude won us the Super Bowl. I think we just get him back.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Stands to reason. And it's been more teams are paying running backs these days. For a few years, it was like, oh, you can't do that.
Right.
We got way too analytical about it. And I think the nerds won out. And then it's like, oh my gosh, game-breaking running back sets the tone, wins Super Bowl. Game-breaking running back plus good defense equals Super Bowl. Like, that was kind of the script last night.
Hey, Breece Hall, very good. I would be interested in the
Breece
Chiefs.
Hall was
exploring.
He was tweeting last night that he wants to be in one of those, and I saw somebody retweet it and say Breece Hall announces that he is officially leaving the Jets.
Well,
because
that is the only way you're going to get there, buddy.
That's sort of the thought process.
It's the only way. 875.
It's not a bad thought.
KTGR, give us a call or a text. Niner A saying, I was sick about the Seahawks winning, but happy for Drew Lock. That's good.
Yep.
Niner A got it. Yep. It's for sure. James saying Dan Marino never got back. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you think young quarterbacks in, first 3 years of their career and they get to the Super Bowl, be like, oh yeah, pencil them in for 2 or 3 more down the line, and they'll eventually get one. No, can't do it.
No. You can't know that for sure.
Not that easy.
It is tough.
Even Aaron Rodgers, that one Super Bowl that he won with the Packers, it's not been back at all. He's tried to get there with multiple teams. I mean, obviously, Jets. Why'd you decide to try to get there with the Jets? But Steelers, sort of the same deal. It can never be a guarantee. So for the fact that Darnold got it done there is awesome for him.
Yeah.
And for Drake May, it's motivation, right? You can still get back. It's not to say that it won't happen, but man, you've got to be more on point than you were in last night's game if you want to not hurt your team in the way that he did. And look, not all his fault. Seattle won the day with their defense. Honestly, their whole team should have gotten the MVP award. Not saying Kenneth Walker didn't deserve it.
I think Walker was the right choice, and I didn't have any money on him.
The right individual choice, yes.
Because he really did allow for the way they won the game to be very comfortable. Like, when the defense dominates like that and you're able to break a few big runs and churn the clock and get a 2-possession lead, because in a game like that, you get up 2 possessions, it really starts to feel demoralizing for the Patriots, just knowing how much of a hard time they had moving the football.
All right, 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us with your thoughts on the Super Bowl and the thoughts on what we might see next year. Will the league be just as unpredictable as it was this past season? Onto the bus coming up next. Is it okay for North Carolina basketball fans to storm the courts? That's next.
Now, your local Sports Center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and today's Sports Center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Well, For Mizzou, quarterback Drew Lock is now a Super Bowl champion. The Seattle backup quarterback won his first ring with the Seahawks yesterday. Seattle beat New England 29-13 in Super Bowl 60. Lock joins Chase Daniel and Blaine Gabbert as former Tiger quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. Mizzou men's basketball was able to glide to a 78-59 victory over South Carolina on the road this past Saturday. Jaden Stone led the Tigers in scoring column with 22, and Mark Mitchell had a 20-point double-double. Missouri will be back in action, looking to make it 3 in a row this Wednesday, heading to College Station to take on Texas A&M, with tip-off at 8 o'clock right here on KTGR. And Mizzou women's basketball fell to Georgia yesterday, 85-66 from Mizzou Arena. Shannon Dowell led the Tigers in the scoring column with 16. The Tigers will be back in action this Thursday against 19th-ranked Tennessee, with tip-off from Knoxville at 5:30 right here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with API. At API Project Fitness, former MU football players Jarrell Jackson and Michael Agnew will take your fitness to the next level with group classes, personal training, and training for young athletes. Find your fire, APIProjectFitness.com. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 41 that will continue in tomorrow with highs in the 50s and partly cloudy skies.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the #1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
And the gates.
The habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
Are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes the three. Bang, he splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's Total Sports Station, KTGR.
Leland, why do you have this dusty old chain on your dresser? You never even wear it. Well, I might wear it again, Rainey, someday. You need to take it into Bet's Jewelers Trade-In Days. True. Necklace dust got me. When is Trade-In Days? February 10th through 14th. Let's go together. Can trade your Valentine for me. But if I trade it, my new jewelry might be free? Yep. Happy Valentine's Day, bro. Bet's Jewelers Trade-In Days, February 10th through 14th.
Beautiful moments begin at Bet's. Begin at Bet's.
Your foresight is so good, you can practically see into the future. But fortune telling isn't the career path you want to take. Instead of predicting people's futures, you can help build them at Fuse 32. Because you recognize things before they can even become problems. You love the thrill of success and getting paid for it. All that's left to do now is look into that crystal ball and see yourself on the sales team at Fuse 32. There's nothing we can't do. Apply now at Fuse32.com.
Columbia has a lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of beautiful neighborhoods, and you can't replace or build new homes there, but they're aging and the homes are getting to an age where they're needing maintenance. And one of the biggest things that we see coming over probably the next decade is need and demand for window replacement. So as your home approaches 15, 17, 20 years old, you're probably going to notice some drafts. You're going to notice some locks that don't quite lock anymore, maybe some condensation in the windows on the inside, outside, or between the panes. There's a variety of things, or maybe you just drive up to the window and it's got rotten wood or a really faded exterior. But either way, at about that time frame, these windows kind of end their life cycle. And so we want to be prepared to be the ones that you call, when you notice that and you want a solution for it. The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com.
Okay, the limb is hanging over the driveway. I need this pruned.
Oh, call the electrician.
An electrician?
Yeah, or maybe your HVAC guy.
You've officially lost it. I need an expert in the right field.
Fine. Call that lawn company. They mow and prune.
Yeah, they also scalped your yard last summer.
When it comes to trees, trust the experts who actually know trees. Ones that are trained and educated for pruning, planting, and removals done right. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
Hey y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. What happens when two pharmacists, a restaurant dude, and a math whiz walk into a bar? They buy it, and those four awesome people are the new owners of Billiards. Like a good Oscar speech, we don't have enough time to thank everybody. But if you've been part of our journey, we just want to say thanks for boogieing on down.
Boogie on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway. Yeah.
Les, honey, I'm coming home.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef. full banquet staff and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
From elsewhere in the weekend outside of the Super Bowl, North Carolina Duke basketball, and it delivered again. Duke was up big. North Carolina stormed back, hit a 3 at the very end to win it, and their fans stormed the court, Brenden.
That they did.
North Carolina basketball fans stormed the court. They're ranked number 14, which a lot of years could be considered a little low for North Carolina basketball. Are we cool with this?
Yeah, I'm fine with it. It's funny that it happened, but I think because it was a shot at the buzzer, which I know then they had to put time back on the clock, so it wasn't really at the buzzer.
Yeah, there was that too.
If it was a different way to end a game, maybe not. But your top rival, one of the top rivalries in college athletics is Duke, North Carolina in basketball. I'm going to allow it, but if there are those who would disagree, I'm not going to fight very hard because I kind of get it.
Well, all I'll say, we'll throw under the bus the fact that, hey, fans, do it when the clock actually says 0.
Yeah,
so,
under the bus.
Wait until
they thought it was over.
Yeah, but
I mean, you can't. You know what I mean? Did the buzzer actually sound?
I mean, they went back and they put time on the clock, so technically,
but did the buzzer
North
sound
Carolina
originally?
bench all mobbed the player, and I guess everyone assumed that the game's over, but it's made for a weird situation where okay,
sure.
Clear the court, and then you got to clean the court because there's drinks all over and stuff. Crazy, but then they finally got the 0.4 in, and guess what? North Carolina still won. Also, under the bus to this announcer during the Olympics, who was, I believe, the analyst for snowboard big air, one of the first events that gets medaled early on in the Olympics over in Italy. Hot mic moment. This broadcaster was caught on the hot mic, supposedly during break, thinking he was off, saying, "This is so boring." The qualifier was a lot more fun than this.
Oh, that's funny.
Was
he wrong,
man.
though?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch.
Exactly.
The only thing is,
watch it.
why would NBC not mute that guy's mic, but they're okay with muting Mike Tirico's mic when he's saying the same thing during the Super Bowl? Probably.
Hey.
This is so boring. The qualifier was much better. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we like the qualifier. No, I think that's, I don't know enough about the background of the person that did it.
No, I'm not saying him necessarily. He was kind of under the bus with this. Yeah, I was a little.
Just being honest. Somebody let him down with the making that mic hot.
And he went on social media and he clarified. He didn't even necessarily apologize, saying look, I said what I said, and it's it wasn't meant to say that the competitors were at all boring themselves. They did excellently. It was just compared to some great things that happened in the qualifying rounds. This was kind of
I like that. I like that he didn't really apologize because
he was clarifying what he meant.
He clarified, because sometimes people say they clarified and they say something completely different than what they said before. That's not a clarification.
No.
You're just correcting what you did before. But if it was really a clarification, good for him for kind of a little bit sticking to it.
Yeah.
But turn those mics off.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
under the bus.
This one, luckily, was a lot less dangerous as far as what he said than
what some other people
compared to other hot mic moments.
Yeah.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
Man, that was awesome to see Drew Lock win a Super Bowl. Look, as a backup quarterback, but that's fine. He's part of this whole thing too. He prepares that group just as well as anybody else does in the Seahawks building. So he absolutely deserves it. And you can even see like the emotion that was overcoming him before the game. He was talking about it after the game, just thinking about his late dad and everything that's happened to him in the past year. So really happy for him to have that moment yesterday. Super Bowl champion Drew Lock.
What a journey for him, man. That is really cool. And to see that Mizzou-made pipeline of backup quarterbacks continue to have success at the next level, like there's something to be said for, and I mean, Gary Pinkel's legacy as well, that you look at the number of quarterbacks that he put into the league and are still going. Maybe they're backups, maybe they're not the starter all the time, but there's some longevity in what those guys have done.
No doubt about it. So congrats to Drew Lock for getting that ring, and we'll see who gets it next year. Up next, good game for Mizzou basketball. A dominant win. How about that? In conference play against South Carolina on the road. We'll talk about it at 5:05. Larissa Anderson, Mizzou softball coach, joins us at 5:40.
Hy-Vee invites you to the second annual Sip and Savor event, benefiting the Food Bank for Central and Northeast Missouri, February 21st at the Northeast Events Center in Columbia, with unlimited tastings of spirits, wine, craft beer, food, and a chance to buy some of the rarest bourbon in the country. Weller, E.H. Taylor, the infamous Pappy Van Winkle, and more. Tickets are just $70. Stop by the liquor department at any of your Columbia Hy-Vees to get yours today. February 21st. Sip, sample, and support a great cause. Only from Columbia Hy-Vee. You're a merchant of all things that are man. Firearms, fishing, cars, food, sports. Yeah, the kind of stuff every man always needs more of. So show it off at the Mecca of Man. The 2026 Como Man Show, Saturday, March 14th at the Northeast Events Center where the Boone County Fair is held. It's the best and most fun way to show every man they need what you got. Seriously, by showing them. Bring your best stuff, show it off, and have a blast. For more info on being a vendor at the Man Show, go to comomanshow.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, "Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Kretsch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside."
As we get into the heart of basketball season, 1851 Underground Tap and Grill wants to remind you, whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you want to plop down with some friends and watch some of that college conference action on TV, they've got a spot for you. Your favorite cold beer or cocktail and delicious appetizer or dinner options on the menu. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's no secret that it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station. KTGR is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Forward Jason Tatum's recovery from a torn Achilles took a big step today, with the Celtics assigning him to practice with their G League affiliate. Afterwards, he'll be recalled by the Celtics and continue his rehab. Team did not offer any additional details on a potential timetable for a return from the Achilles injury suffered last May. Thunder forward Jalen Williams out the last 10 games with a hamstring strain, set to return tonight against the Lakers. Amidst a slew of injuries to key players, the return of a prime offensive creator and lockdown defender, certainly good news for OKC. ESPN NBA reporter Tim McMahon.
Badly needed boost of ball handling, of playmaking for the Thunder, and a chance for him to get back on the court. Been a frustrating season for him. Missed the first month and a half or so coming off the offseason surgery on his shooting wrist. Still really trying to find his form, and has a chance to do that here in the last week before the All-Star break.
LA without Luka Doncic, a second straight game tonight because of a strained hamstring. NFL, former Dolphins and Jets head coach Adam Gase joining the Chargers and as an assistant coach with a passing game focus.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to save money. When you bundle your auto policy with home, condo, or renters, you'll earn a multi-policy discount. Easy to bundle, easy to save. Visit progressive.com.
From Faro Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Well, it was a dominant performance by Mizzou basketball over the weekend. Seahawks weren't the only team to dominate their event. We'll talk about the Tigers' win over South Carolina on the road here coming up in a couple of minutes, and maybe what it means moving forward as the Tigers certainly still alive for NCAA tournament hopes. But how did Saturday impact your view of their season? You can let us know with the call or text 573-875-KTGR. We'll also recap our picks of the week with our Super Bowl prop picks as well as the Super Bowl draft. That's all coming up before we get to Larissa Anderson a little bit later on in the show. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
I think the expected outcome, Seahawks defense just overwhelms a quarterback like Drake May, who's very good. Not saying he's bad, but just wasn't ready for that. And the Seahawks dominated the Patriots 29-13. Patriots did eventually find some offensive footing in the fourth quarter, but by that point, Seahawks had gone up 3 scores, and was it really going to happen? No, not really. And for the Seahawks, that's an excellently coached, excellently constructed foundation that you can now translate for years to come. We'll see if they do. And man, am I happy for Drew Lock getting that Super Bowl ring, the Lee Summit native. Yeah, sure, he's a backup quarterback, but that's still an important role. And Drew Lock has filled it brilliantly wherever he's been. Now it means he's a Super Bowl champ.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
So we're going to continue to see just great NFL defenses win out when it comes to these high-powered moments late in the season, in the playoffs. Should we favor more of those sides as opposed to, who has the better quarterback? Because we've seen now last couple of years, the team that had, solid quarterback play, maybe not the best, maybe not top 10 worthy, but just had excellent ways to get after the other team's more talented quarterback, not only win Super Bowls, but dominate them. We'll see if that trend continues.
Number 3.
I think Mizzou Hoops hopes a trend continues for them. They won by 19 on the road at South Carolina. No, South Carolina is not cream of the crop in the SEC, but anytime you go on the road in this league, you can be upset. I mean, ask anybody else throughout the rest of this league, and how Mizzou was able to really just put the clamps down in the second half, not really make it a game at all towards the end. 22 points from Jaden Stone, double-double from Mark Mitchell. See how they look in a very important week at Texas A&M and hosting Texas this week.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Around the Mizzou Olympic sports, Mizzou Gymnastics a big weekend. Their highest-ranked win ever, defeating number 2 Florida. Mizzou Wrestling went on the road, got a conference win over West Virginia. And how about Mizzou Softball starting the season a little bit up and down, 2-3 over the weekend in Clearwater, Florida. We'll talk to Larissa Anderson at 5:45 to talk about their weekend.
Number 5.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Wait, were those Bush's people? Was that actually a wedding just now?
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875 KTGR. Was that a real wedding? That was real?
Okay, so my wife's grandma was, as that's going on, she goes, did they really get married? And I thought,
maybe.
Probably not, but maybe. And I when I saw that on Twitter after the fact, I had to send her a text and say, hey, just so you know, your question wasn't as silly as it may have seemed at the moment, that they really did get married, believe it or not. Yeah. So, yeah, that was really something. And the Bushes were people. From the start of it, I was waiting for them to dance, because when they were showing the over-the-top view, I'm like, okay, those are definitely people dressed up as shrubbery. Yeah. And I imagine at some point they're going to break out into a dance. But no, they were just, that's probably the quickest way to set the scene.
Transport the shrubbery.
It makes sense. Yeah. Honestly, like if you could find, hey, would you like to stand on the Super Bowl halftime field and be a Bush? You'll be part of that. You'll always be able to tell that story. Heck yeah.
I'll do
would
that.
sign up for that.
I'll do that.
That'd be awesome. And so, rather than have to set more of like a setting up, because they got to do all that pretty quick just for the halftime. So I think makes perfect sense that that's the way they decided to go about it. And the Bushes were people, as it turns out.
What do you know?
Oh,
innovation.
Boy.
That's
it
what we're
really
about
was
in the Super Bowl halftime show.
And I'll say this: I didn't understand a word he said, but I really enjoyed the kind of the storytelling, the dancing, the scenery. Like visually, that was one of the best I think halftime shows they've ever had, just in terms of the visuals and the way they kind of put it. It almost looked like a play, that they were putting on. So, and my kid was dancing like crazy, so he liked it.
We were kind of heading out the door from our party so that we could put kids to bed and take baths and things like that.
Oh,
so we didn't watch the whole thing. But I was walking out the door and I saw the wedding. I'm like, whoa.
Getting married?
Getting married?
I think they're getting married.
Apparently they had invited Bad Bunny to their wedding.
Right.
But then
were
Bad
they just
Bunny,
some random people, though?
I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Nice enough to think, hey, we really like your music. We'll invite you to our wedding. Yeah. I don't know.
It said like maybe because that's honestly something that people should do when they're getting married. Like email, these corporations and be like, hey, we're getting married. You want to send us
your
something?
favorite celebrity.
And you just never know.
It happens.
The worst thing you can do is say no or send you nothing, but sometimes they'll give you a little incentive.
Not a bad idea.
And sure enough, when Bad Bunny got that invitation, he's like, I'll do you one better. Come to my halftime show of the Super Bowl and get married there.
Imagine being like the friends of that couple that were watching, you maybe you didn't get the wedding invite for obvious reasons, but you got to watch it on the biggest stage in the world. That's crazy.
That was something else. Yeah, it was fun. Again, I don't have huge high standards for what a Super Bowl halftime show should be, so that was fun.
I did see that, like, something I don't love. One of those prediction markets had shot up in percentage for Lady Gaga to make an appearance the day before. Man. And so it kind of ruined the surprise on that part of it. But I guess she just had lost a Grammy award in the same category to him. And then was like, clearly, I don't care about that. I'm going to join you for the halftime. So I thought that was fun.
Yeah. And Ricky Martin there too.
And he was good.
He
did really well.
He was very good. 875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text. Thoughts on the Super Bowl. Seahawks dominating. And where we go from here, what will next year bring in this field? We'll talk about our picks of the week as well and the Super Bowl draft results at 5:25. But first, hey, before you got settled in for the Super Bowl on Saturday afternoon, you were treated to a pretty boring Mizzou basketball game, right? Finally gonna do that.
Boring. And we wanted it to be boring.
There you go.
They were only favored by 1.5. You talked about Ken Pom. It was a coin flip kind of. Mizzou play capabilities. Like if you had seen the best version of Mizzou in every game this year, they'd have been favored by double digits over that South Carolina team, no matter where you play the game. Mizzou played really, really well. It's South Carolina. They're the worst team in the conference. I feel even more confident in that after seeing the game. But Mizzou did to a team like that what they should do. I thought that was exactly what they needed for Saturday's game.
I mean, yes, there was a moment where it felt a little dicey. They turned it over a little bit. Like when they weren't turning the ball over, it looked great. They had 11 first half turnovers, and that was not great.
Late in the first half, they didn't close very well. Yeah. They were up 4 at halftime.
Yeah,
that was maybe where it felt dicey. Second half really never got closer than 9 or 10 for the majority.
Only turned it over 3 times in the second half. There you go.
They cleaned it up.
Yeah.
They really did. That was good to see.
So when you face a team like that, when you have the talent edge, very clearly, you just don't make mistakes. You don't give your opponent those types of opportunities. And Mizzou played to their strengths. They shortened the rotation. It's really just 7 guys right now that are playing at the moment. And look, maybe they need to at least have one more guy join that so that they don't put so many minutes on these other guys' legs. But I mean, for the Saturday's purposes, Mizzou put the clamps down on a team that they should have done so in a game like that. And South Carolina has made it tough on teams before in their home building. And Mizzou made sure that was not them. So I think that in a league like the SEC where Oklahoma can go on the road and beat Vandy, like don't just scoff at the fact that you won by 19 on the road. I don't care who the opponent is. Mizzou got a ratings boost from it too. Like the metrics jumped up. They're now 52 in KenPom. So that I think was job well done. Yeah,
that Vanderbilt game was completely
that was crazy
bonkers.
how like the Oklahoma was up 19 with 4 minutes.
Yeah. If that game was 40 minutes and 20 seconds long, Oklahoma doesn't win.
No.
They don't survive it. But obviously, Vandy ran out of time, hit the 3 at the buzzer to lose by 1 after it was. I turned it off. I bet Vandy live just because I'm like, well, Vandy's not going to lose to Oklahoma, even though they're way, way down. I just figured exactly what would happen would happen. It just started about 30 seconds to a minute too late.
Crazy, man.
Oklahoma was trying to give that game away. I mean, they were desperate to give it away.
That's insane how they look so good for 35 minutes, and then all of a sudden
that's college basketball, brother. I mean, that is if that's not that sport to a T, I don't know what is.
No doubt about it. I mean, there are several results like that you could chalk up to the same type of thing. And Mizzou made sure that it was not them this weekend. 875-KTGR, give us your thoughts on Mizzou hoops. So, look, that job well done there. They get a win that they should have gotten, and the fact that they won it by a lot more helps them out when it comes to their net ranking and trying to get a composite enough to where you're still in the conversation. This week, at A&M on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's
what's that spread going to be? What do you think?
Well, I can tell you what KenPom thinks right now.
Yeah.
-7 for A&M.
I was going to say 7. And I think the spread will be I'm hoping for 5.5. I think it'll be 6.5.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be higher than that 7. I think that Missouri is going to get a little credit. I think people are going to have seen the way they just played on the road. And I think there's a chance that, coming into it, they get a little credit for that. Now, I also kind of wonder if they're going to be able to hold up against a better opponent now that they aren't off a week of rest, because I think that benefited them too, Andy. They only played really 7 guys. They played 9, but the other 2, Burns saw 3 minutes. Nick Randall saw 2. That rotation, I mean, they dialed it in. Your core 4 played 30-plus minutes, all 4 of them, really 32-plus minutes. And then you get contributions from Cruz for about 20 minutes and Ant Robinson for about 20 minutes. And then Sean Phillips mixed in for 14 minutes. And I think it was maybe more of a game that benefited the guard play. And so, which I think when Mizzou's at its best, that's its ideal, just because I feel like they're able to have their offense be what they want it to be without Phillips out there. I know that there are some things he does well and brings to the table, but if he's 14 to 18 minutes, I think that's just about fine. And
he dealt with foul trouble
rhythm.
The other day. He got up to 4 fouls, picked up 2 early ones. So that was also part of it.
But they were, I think they looked good with that smaller lineup out there, and it was more athletic, and they moved well. They drove the basket really well. They just told South Carolina, you can't stop us inside, whether it was Mitchell, whether it was T.O., it just didn't matter. So I really like the way that they played, but the A&M's not going to it's not going to come that easily. And this is one where you win it, I think it really starts to change the trajectory because we know the schedule's getting tougher. This was the kind of week where you couldn't afford to slip up because you weren't really going to give yourself a boost. Now they did get a ratings boost because of how many points they won by, but nobody's going to go, oh, we got to put them in the tournament field because they whooped up on South Carolina.
Yeah.
This is where you start to, Andy, they beat A&M. You can squint and see double bye talk. I mean, based on the record and where they'd be, they're hosting Texas on Saturday. Texas is a team that I know the final score showed they beat Ole Miss by 9 or whatever it was. That game went down to the wire. Texas pulled away really late, and that was a home game for the Longhorns, and you get them at Mizzou Arena. Texas is going to be one of those teams that's on the right side of the bubble. You're going to be one of those teams on the wrong side of the bubble. If you can go handle A&M and then get get the party on Saturday night. I like that it's a night game at Mizzou Arena. For the Longhorns, man, this could be an instrumental week in flipping the script from like, pessimistic, wrong side of the bubble type of season to how high can they climb in these conference standings? I mean, this week is where I think that is a prove-it week for the Tigers.
They are right now in a 4-way tie for 5th. And if they beat A&M Wednesday, they'll be tied with A&M and obviously have the tiebreaker on them. A&M is tied for 3rd.
Yep.
So you might be no worse than tied for 4th if you just win that game on Wednesday. Yeah, so
Which
you
to this
absolutely are in
point,
that conversation.
there hasn't been enough. And look, there's a bunch of teams at 6-4 right now. Vandy, Tennessee, Alabama. Like, you're tied with 3 other teams. Okay. Texas is 6-5. So if you lose to them, now you're moving the other way. It's been so bunched up, and it's still a little bit too early, especially with the non-con slate that Mizzou had, to look at them and say, hey, they're tied for 5th. Like, should be great NCAA tournament lock. But if that's still something we're talking about, if we're still talking about their standing after this week being in double bye range, because they pick off a couple of teams that are in their similar range, if we're being honest, it's the range we want to be in. This is the week you prove you're in that range. Get yourself in that cushy middle of the conference where it's like, yeah, A&M, Texas, Mizzou, Tennessee, those are all just tournament teams this year. And it's like, wait a minute, did you just say Mizzou? Did you just say Mizzou with all those other teams? Wait a second, buddy. No, this is the week where that can become a reality. And if it goes the other way and you lose them both, then it's like, all right, that's kind of why we have been putting them in this other category where we feel like we're on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
This week will show a lot, man. You could go 1-1 and we could still be like, okay, you're slowly inching. You're slowly inching toward, because look, if they go 1-1 every week the rest of the year, they're 10-8, and I think the strength of some of those wins could be enough.
I think that's enough.
Because at some point you're beating some teams that it's going to turn some heads if you get to 10-8 at this point, because you can win at Oklahoma and at Mississippi State and nobody cares. You can win home at Texas against Texas, and that's a team that's maybe nobody cares, but it's still like a tournament team as of the moment. And then find that 4th win. It's going to be an impressive one. It's at an A&M, or it's hosting a Tennessee, or it's picking up one against Arkansas that you play twice, or it's beating Vandy on your court. Like, there's not any more games left that aren't impressive. So if you're getting to 10-8, you did something well. This is a week where they can set the scene to 2-putt into a 10-8 type of record. Like, you go 2-0 this week, which is not what I predict, but if you do it, if you're a 5 or 6 point underdog at A&M and you pull off the upset and you win a coin flip game at home against Texas, suddenly I think we very, very much would view this team in a different light of, hey, there's enough data points here that are not going to be denied by an NCAA tournament committee if you can go and have your best week of the season right now.
Give us Mizzou Hoops reactions and thoughts here on the Big Show, 573-875-KTGR. If they went 1-1 this week, which win would you rather have?
Awesome question. Am I wrong to say, even though it's probably a lower ranked win, might not be the quadrant 1 win if Texas falls off? Am I wrong to say Texas because I think A&M is more likely to make the tournament, but if you beat Texas, you could knock them down and take their spot? Is that the wrong answer? It might be wrong because there's still a lot of basketball
hard to find a
played.
wrong answer to this. Like, I really do think it's very close in that sense. And by the way, A&M's 33 in Ken Palm and Texas is 34.
Right.
Like,
so you might say the road game is more impressive to win.
Right.
It's like, well, why'd you lose at home?
And again, Texas is a bubble team. A&M is safely in at the moment if you said it today. But, I mean, I maybe lean A&M because that turns more heads. Like, you need wins that get people's attention.
Andy, they can win both of these basketball games. And I'm going to continue to say what I said as we've done our basketball tiers, and I know we'll update them later in the week for the SEC. Like, A&M, they got popped by Florida at home. And I get it. Florida's a really, really good team, one of the top 4 teams in this league for sure. They lost by 19 points on Saturday in a home game to Florida. A&M has built this resume that you just said accurately. Well, they're in the tournament because that is the case as of the moment. They've built that on a conference schedule that's kind of the similar way of Missouri doing it, where they haven't really had the tough stretch just yet. But, like, they've got some tough games remaining at Vanderbilt. They're going to have to play Kentucky. They're going to have to go to Arkansas. Like, there's enough difficult games. They gotta play Missouri this week. There's enough difficult games left, and they, this past week they took 2 losses. So I am wondering if maybe, what if my theory on A&M just not being quite as good as the Lenardis of the world would tell us, and the metrics are, they're 7-3 in the SEC. That means something. But if they slip a little bit, I'd rather have the A&M win, I think, even though the home one would mean a lot. But I think the A&M one builds your resume more. So I'll say that's probably the way you got to go. But either way, I think 1-1 doesn't kill you this week. 2-0.
Oh yeah.
2-0 announces you and your presence in this thing. But 1-1 wouldn't kill you. But 0-2 might. 0-2 might kill you.
That'd be hard to overcome because the next week is Vandy, Arkansas. So,
and look, I'm going to say they're going to beat Vanderbilt at home. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to beat that Vanderbilt team at home, but that's not something they'll be predicted to do, I don't think.
Yeah, and again, if you replace that 0-2 with a 2-0 the very next week, then you're back in. That, I think, without a doubt.
This is the week of the season. Right now feels like the week of the season.
Wow.
Because they're not playing a top 25 team.
Yeah.
But they're playing 2 teams that are soundly top 40, and one of them's on the road. And if you win them both, why can't they then beat Vanderbilt? And then you're like, well, why can't they just go, 12-6 and be a 7 seed? This week I can't wait for Wednesday night's game. I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited to see what Dennis Gates' group comes up with, because this is a huge opportunity for them. This week, you can't look ahead to the Texas game until you play the Wednesday game. But as a fan, I'm looking at these 2 games going, boy, oh boy, if you can make this happen, it opens up a different conversation for the season.
Call or text us, Mizzou Hoops fans. Tell us what you thought of this weekend's game, 875-KTGR, and how you're viewing A&M Wednesday and Texas on Saturday for the next 2 for Mizzou basketball as they try to stay in the NCAA tournament conversation. 573-875-5847. We will give an update on the results from our Soup or Bowl draft and our prop-centric picks of the week from last Friday before we get to Larissa Anderson and Mizzou Softball at 5:45 here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Miss the latest edition of The Big Show? Catch up on demand with a full show podcast on the KTGR app. Download it now wherever you get your apps.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. Wintertime can be very hard on your vehicle, so don't neglect it at all during this month. Be sure to take it into Lee's Tire Company for regular maintenance. They can check fluids. They can check tire pressure. They also have a great technical team that can take care of larger projects if you need those done. But of course, they're the tire experts. So they'll check your tires to make sure they're in tip-top shape, check the alignment. And if you need new tires, they've got a huge selection. So chances are it won't be hard to find the right ones for you. And you can also save by getting tires at Lee's Tire Company. Every single month they run specials to put money back in your pocket if you need new tires. Go and check out leestirecompany.com for all of those specials that are happening now. And be sure to visit them on the Business Loop in Columbia or at University Garage, where they have a large location right by the MU campus. They're also in Centralia, or shop online for tires anytime at leestirecompany.com. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. leestirecompany.com.
I'm Tyler, and I've been a marketing consultant with Zimmer Communications. I joined Zimmer because my background was in helping local businesses grow in their marketing. It's cool working here because I get to work with people that I can actually call my friends, and it's a really encouraging environment. I think the energy is good because we enjoy working together. Everybody on the team brings something unique to the table so that we're building on each other's strengths. It's a great place to be because they give you all the tools you need to be successful.
If you're up for the challenge, apply now at ZimmerCommunications.com.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond, the year that dad finally gets his retirement watch, and the year that your daughter graduates, so you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Losing a loved one is probably the hardest punch you will ever take in the fight of life. Dealing with the fallout, finances, and how to replace that loss of income for your family is even harder. That's why Phyllis Nichols and her team are so passionate about life insurance. Phyllis Nichols is the 12th round agent who fights for your best interests and knows exactly what you need. Get your life insurance with State Farm Agency licensed Phyllis Nichols, the 12th round agent.
Columbia has a lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of beautiful neighborhoods, and you can't replace or build new homes there, but they're aging and the homes are getting to an age where they're needing maintenance. And one of the biggest things that we see coming over probably the next decade is need and demand for window replacement. So as your home approaches 15, 17, 20 years old, you're probably going to notice some drafts. You're going to notice some locks that don't quite lock anymore, maybe some condensation in the windows on the inside, outside, or between the panes. There's a variety of things. Or maybe you just drive up to the window and it's got rotten wood or a really faded exterior. But either way, at about that time frame, these windows kind of end their life cycle. And so we want to be prepared to be the ones that you call, when you notice that and you want a solution for it. The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Yeah, if you were locking in on college hoops before the Super Bowl this weekend, you saw Oklahoma going to Vandy, getting that done, barely. Florida absolutely taking it to A&M. A&M shot poorly in that one.
Let's hope they do that again.
I mean, they take a ton of threes, but
I don't like that.
They shot 34 of them on Saturday against the Gators. Now they only made 9, that was to their downfall, obviously.
But maybe the Gators played well defensively on the outside, guarding those threes. Maybe A&M had to shoot more because they were trailing by so many. It was like 59-29 at one point, and I texted you and said, by the way, A&M fraud alert is real.
I mean,
that was. Well, I'm not saying you had to win that game, Aggies, but come on, man. They didn't even show up.
Yeah, the best conference win right now is probably going to Georgia and beating them by 15.
I just can't be made to care about that. I don't think Georgia's particularly good. I know. They beat us, but
they're also like that. That's the case of okay, Mizzou is up in the standings in the SEC. Why are they not a tournament team? Well, because Georgia's considered a tournament team right now, even though
they
they're
won't be
5-5. You think they won't make it? Okay.
I don't think Georgia's going to make it. I got to look at their schedule, I guess, before saying that more definitively.
It looks pretty manageable, but
okay. Well, I don't think they're that good. I saw a projection of them in like a 7 versus 10 with SLU, and I'm like, SLU would beat the tar out of Georgia. I hope it happens. Give me that matchup because I think it would be a bloodbath. They host Florida. That's the thing too. Florida could just have one bad game again, like they did against Missouri, and Georgia could beat them. And you're like, well, Georgia's obviously legitimate. They beat Florida, and it's happening, in February instead of back when Mizzou did it to the Gators. But I would say if they probably drop that one, they go to Oklahoma on Valentine's Day. That's a toughie. At Kentucky, I don't know, man. There's some tough games here remaining. At Vanderbilt, I think Georgia is definitely. I mean, they're going to take losses to Vandy, Kentucky, Florida. If Oklahoma can knock them off, and that Georgia-Alabama game on March the 3rd, that's their 9-9. Maybe that's enough, but who knows?
We shall see. Lots of basketball still to be played over the next month. 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text.
It's exciting too, by the way, that I love football. I love college basketball, but it's like now we're singularly focused on, that's March. The next big event. It's like March Madness is coming. Yeah. You know what I mean? You can see it. You can see it off in the distance.
All right. Well, let's put the bow on the picks of the week. I mean, that will still continue. We'll still have picks of the week into basketball season, but the football version of picks of the week is done with the prop bets that we made.
Mm-hmm.
Or the prop picks that we made.
How'd it go?
Friday. Well, you did very well. The producers did very well. I did not do very well. I went 1-4.
1-4.
Producers.
So you didn't win.
Producers 3-3-1.
Wait a second. Hold on. Pause.
Yeah.
3-3-1.
Yes. Would you like to know the one?
It Correct me if I'm wrong. We only pick 5, right?
3-1-1.
3-1-1 is.
Oh, did I say 3-3-1? Oh,
yeah. I was
okay.
Like, I think we only do 5 rounds. Okay, 3-1-1 is
3-3-1.
3-1-1 is very good.
3-1-1, yes.
All right, I'm already not liking the direction of this, but go ahead.
Well, you went 4.
What did they lose? Well, hold that thought because I think there's a discrepancy. What did the producers tie? What was the push?
Which will be higher, Patriots touchdowns scored or Manchester United goals scored versus Tottenham on Saturday? Man U won 2-0. Patriots scored 2 touchdowns.
For a while, it seemed like 2 was going to be enough. The Patriots end up scoring late. Okay, so you say I went 4-1. Ken Walker, longest rush was over.
Yep.
Drake May had more rushing yards than Ant Edwards had PRA against the Clippers.
Yes.
Despite the fact that I say they didn't run May enough. Hunter Henry was a big disappointment for me. He almost cashed me out. I think on that final drive, he might have done some good things. I needed a little bit more yardage from him, but I think he might have got concussed on that end zone 2-point conversion. Yeah. And so we only saw Austin Hooper on that final drive, but I can't complain. It did very well in the game, but Kupp was good. And so I lost that on the Henry versus Kupp thing. Ramondre Stevenson was higher than the Ohio State team total.
Yep.
Barely.
Yeah, he was. Barely.
And I was counting on Ohio State to do poorly in order to cash that one, and it worked out. You're going to say I won on the length of the touchdown, right?
Yes.
Under 35.5.
Yeah.
What wasn't the return by the Seahawks more? The return touchdown? Are you counting that one?
That's the one I'm counting. That's the one.
What was the length of that one?
45. Oh, you said under.
I said under, and I think you were only looking at the offensive touchdowns.
Well,
I think I got that one wrong.
I was looking at the defensive one, and I thought you said over.
You just thought I said over.
Yeah.
No, I've got it written down as under, and
I do too.
Thinking back, I did think it was going to be under. Had that not happened, I think I would have been right because the other touchdowns were shorter. Matt Collins had a decently long one, but
he had it right on the line. He had 35.
His was 35.
His was 35.
The defensive touchdown was a bomb. It was a long one.
Yep.
And so I have to cop to it. I could have taken credit for it, but the producers, based on the push, actually do win.
Yeah.
And I had it written down as I'm just kind of jotting through it. I'm like, oh, the Man U scored more than the Patriots because the Patriots got shut out. Well, they didn't really get shut out. They scored 2 touchdowns.
They ended up getting on the board. Yeah.
It just felt like they did. So yeah, the producers actually do take home the victory, and I come in second this week.
So there you go. But yeah, I was rough. The Jason Myers field goal under 20 or at 26 that lost mine because I thought that shortest field goal would be over.
The only one you won is actually hysterical.
Oh yeah, the JSN receptions or Jaylen Brown rebounds. Brown had 2 rebounds.
When I looked that up, I might have cursed at my computer. I'm like,
yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
How does he get a win on that? Ridiculous, Jalen. What are we doing?
Love that. JSN. Thanks for getting what you got. By the way, Super Bowl draft. You know how that went?
How did it go? I didn't look.
Well, you did not win.
Well, shows what playing by the rules gets you.
Well,
all right.
I mean, we had a tie between myself and the producers.
I'm the only one that didn't win.
You're the only one that did not win.
Okay. That is definitive proof. Next year,
No.
folks, I'm coming for the crown.
No, all you got to do is
No
just pick
holds
better.
barred.
You had Bread Bowl and you didn't win? That's pathetic.
That's a generational bag fumble.
That is pathetic.
I fumbled the bag so hard.
Pick better soups.
I really enjoy my soups, but the problem is they don't go with Bread Bowl. I picked 2 soups that flat out you would never put in a Bread Bowl. And so the synergy of my team, it was a very Patriots type of performance rather than the synergy of the roster that you had on the Seattle side. The culture clearly in our draft room, it was more of a Buffalo Bills draft room, if I may. We're not all blaming each other. No, you said to pick wonton soup. No, it was you. You're the one who said you liked him at the combine. We're gonna have to regroup before next year, but we may resort to a Belichickian way of doing things and just flat out cheat again. Remains to be seen.
Well,
TBD for next year.
At least you call it for what it is.
You know what? If it can get you to the Hall of Fame. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, that's right.
Too soon?
No, I don't think so. He did not get in too soon. He's actually going to get in too late. That's actually what's happening there.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congrats to both of you guys, I guess.
That was great.
What a
Love
joke.
that. Ben takes all the credit. There you go. He's in today, and he's like, yeah, I'll take the win.
He wasn't even picking the soups.
He was there.
That was the other guy.
Producers.
I'll give credit to the other producers, but I will agree, Brenden. Having Bread Bowl and not finding a way to even pull a tie out of it, that's a little rough.
I know.
But
couldn't even beat out Billy's mom's giant special salad / soup bowl.
That was. Did he ever post a picture of that?
I don't know
I'm
if he
calling
ever
this
did.
whole draft under protest. He said he was going to post a picture of this bowl that was so special. It clearly won him some favor with the voting contingent. But I'm gonna have to investigate, independent audit.
Well, there you go. The Soup or Bowl draft. If you missed it, you can see the teams on our Twitter page at KTGR Big Show on Twitter. The poll is closed, but myself and the producers share the spoils this year.
That's just, I've won this thing multiple times in underhanded ways. It's clearly cheat to win is the mantra. It's the only way that my team can get over the hump.
No, we will keep overcoming that.
What's the Spygate version of soup? Because we're going back to the well on some of that next year.
Coming up, Larissa Anderson, Mizzou Softball head coach, joins us to talk about the Tigers opening weekend in Clearwater. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Well, former Mizzou quarterback Drew Lock is now a Super Bowl champion. The Seattle backup quarterback won his first ring with the Seahawks yesterday as Seattle beat New England 29-13 in Super Bowl 60. Lock joins Chase Daniel and Blaine Gabbert as former Mizzou quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl. Mizzou basketball was able to glide to a 78-59 victory over South Carolina on the road this past Saturday. Jaden Stone led the Tigers in scoring column with 22, while Mark Mitchell added a 20-point double-double. Missouri will be back in action, looking to make it 3 in a row on Wednesday, heading to College Station to take on Texas A&M with tip-off at 8 o'clock right here on KTGR. And Mizzou women's basketball fell to Georgia 85-66 from Mizzou Arena. Shannon Dow led the Tigers in scoring with 16. The Tigers will be back in action this Thursday against 19th-ranked Tennessee with tip-off from Knoxville at 5:30 right here on KTGR. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with API Project Fitness. At API Fitness, former MU football players Darrell Jackson and Michael Agnew will take your fitness to the next level with group classes, personal training, and training for young athletes. Find your fire at APIProjectFitness.com. Tonight, clear skies and a low of 41. That will continue into tomorrow.
High school hoops
Switches on the crossover, Euro step inside, high off the glass and in.
at its best.
Catch it on the left wing, turns around and knocks down the three.
KTGR is your home for the best high school basketball matchups in Columbia. Follow the QBs, Bruins, Spartans, and Trailblazers all season long on KTGR's High School Hoops Game of the Week. See the full list of game broadcasts on KTGR.com and listen on the go with a free KTGR app. High school basketball lives here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Winter is in full swing, and Aleve is here to keep you moving. When the cold weather sets in, everyday aches and pains can linger, but Aleve's got your back. With up to 12 hours of body pain relief per dose, Aleve keeps you going with long-lasting body pain relief to get you through whatever the season brings. Chilly days or cozy nights, Aleve gives you that long-lasting body pain relief you can count on this winter. Try Aleve. Use as directed for minor aches and pains.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Would you care for some nightmare fuel? It's 5 a.m., and while you're still shaking off the cobwebs from the previous night's snooze, something else is lurking in another web. Time for a shower. Reach down to start the water and... It's a spider. 8 eyes watching you, and now 8 legs coming right for you. You know what you need? 5 stars. Not like throwing stars, although to be fair, you'd use just about anything to kill that dastardly shower spider. All you need is a 5-star service plan from Steve's Pest Control. Steve scares the life out of pests. Oh, who are we kidding? Steve and his team don't scare them, they kill them. All of them. And because your fear of spiders, wasps, termites, and other insects is very real, Steve's is here to let you know that he and his team are real too. They're not some corporate conglomerate. They're legendary, local, and 100% real.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Paradise doesn't have to be far away. Sometimes it's a quiet walk through a state park. Sometimes it's your favorite takeout and a night in. At Shangri-La, we believe that cannabis belongs in those everyday moments, not as an escape, but as part of living well. That's why we offer 20% off select category every day, plus 20% off store-wide every Sunday. Thoughtful products, honest guidance, real value. Shangri-La, discover paradise. Learn more at ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Another winter inside, looking at the snow in your yard that you can't write your name in because you didn't order your new deck from Crutch's Custom Exteriors in time. Don't look ahead to spring cleaning. You're ready for spring peeing and April showers with Freedom Stream powers off your new Crutch's deck. They can build your pee platform in the winter so it's ready for you to splash your autograph in any springtime snow that's left. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com. True beauty is on the outside.
So, Mr. Fancy Dancy Sports Car Dude, you say you were distracted by a raccoon feasting in the road? Okay. How about the fact that you were going way too fast when there's like 5 inches of snow on the ground? Nice ditch you got there, bro. Now you need a savior, a do-over. Find your phone and just Google I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for slide-offs. When your winter world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. A raccoon. Just ridiculous.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy Humphrey here. The season is officially underway now for Mizzou Softballs. The Tigers were in the Division I Leadoff Classic in Clearwater, Florida this weekend and went 2-3. Took a couple losses first day on Friday, bounced back with 2 wins Saturday, and then fell in an 11-inning game to South Alabama on Sunday to close it out. Tigers staying down in Florida for more non-conference action throughout the rest of this week. Larissa Anderson and Mizzou Softball joining us here to talk about it. And Coach, I mean, you can almost divide it up in days, I'm sure, with how your team was heading out there. How did you kind of diagnose each day as you worked through that tournament over in Clearwater?
I saw some really, really good things. I saw some things that we obviously need to improve on. I like the good things. I really like the good things. I thought, and I'll go with starting on Friday, I thought Harrison and McCann threw really well coming out. First time on dirt. I mean, that's always extremely tough to do, and playing against 2 Power 4 teams, and obviously with Oregon being an Oklahoma City contender. McCann throwing no hit, a shutout game up into the 6th inning, like really strong outing. That was awesome to see. And then I thought that we pitched well all weekend long. You know, I think they kept us in the ball game, which is what they were supposed to do. I thought really happy with Abby Carr's outings. She threw extremely well, a no-hitter into the 6th against Liberty, and then obviously with the home run yesterday. So that's awesome. That's really promising to see. Offensively, some highs and lows. I thought some of our Saturday performances were really strong and showed me what the potential of this team is. And Friday, I attribute a lot to just nerves and seeing the ball outside for the first time in a live pitcher other than our own. Yesterday was just disappointing. Yesterday was a little defensive. We were more on the defensive end, afraid to fail rather than the attack mode and trying to put them away with our opportunities. We had a lot of people left on base. So I hope we just learn from those experiences.
Yeah, and with all of that through the 5 games, 2 of them were a couple of extra inning games that kind of went a little bit on the lengthy side. You go 10 innings in one, 11 in another, and you talked about how the pitching kept you in a lot of it. to be able to cover so many innings there with a pitching staff that, as you talked about, you're still looking to see how roles will fit each and every pitcher. What did they kind of show you as a whole when they're going through a whole lot of workload there?
They battled. They really did. They battled. I really wanted Carr to be able to close that one out and, got away from us. They sat on the changeup and, capitalized on the opportunity when we were in extra innings. And even as it was going on, yesterday's game against South Alabama was about 3.5 hours. And that's grueling. But you got to experience those moments. And regardless of what the result is, I was like, I'm so glad we're in these moments now early on to get these young players to experience what that feels like, because I cannot replicate that in practice at all. And they just continue to battle and give our offense an opportunity to be able to win. We had some quality at bats where we got people on base and we did what we were supposed to do. We just didn't have that clutch hit when we needed it to score more than one. And then South Alabama, obviously being the home team, they capitalized on the opportunity that they had with 2 outs. But again, like being able to see the resiliency and the competitiveness, like teams could easily fall when their backs up against the wall. And, we just continue to battle. We just need to have some of that more clutch hitting and grind some things out. Like I can't control the result. They could hit some scorchers right at people, and that's just part of the game. But when I see teams that just get defensive and they're afraid to fail and just trying to put it in play, that's the one thing that just concerns me, that I want them to know that they can control their effort. Like you don't have to be defensive and play on the defensive side. Just continue to put the attack.
Larissa Anderson, Mizzou Softball head coach here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. We've mentioned Abby Carr a couple times already, and certainly so with how she performed in both roles for you at the plate and in the circle, and was named to the all-tournament team this weekend. Took a no-hitter into the 5th inning in her first pitching start. Just how did you kind of see both having the pitching focus, but also being able to contribute and drive in runs when she was asked to at the plate?
It's fun to coach a two-way player.
Yeah.
We can be really creative, especially in softball with the flex and the DP and how I can be able to manipulate the lineup. And when Abby Carr is pitching, I can have her be one of the 1 through 9 hitters and being able to make some substitutions differently out of that 10 spot. So it makes it a lot of fun for me as the manager. But it gives us another lineup. But what we have to really try to figure out is how do we manage her in the bullpen when she is in the lineup, because she is going to be a force. And someone that is going to be able to contribute offensively, but how do we be able to get her game ready when she's on deck? So that's going to be the real test for us, to be able to manage her, but also not overwhelm her and burn her out this early in her career.
Yeah, and I'm sure it is kind of delicate to balance. Do you let them kind of spend equal time with both when you try to figure that out yourself, or how does that get managed early on when you know that they're raring to go, I'm sure, in both roles, and they want to try and help out the team as much as possible?
The first thing is figuring out what does Abby need, and Abby needs me to tell her exactly what to do. Like, this is when you're going to warm up, you're going to start, and you're going to run, stretch, throw, then you're going to go to the cages and you're going to hit. When you're done hitting, you're going to start your pitching warm up. And I want you to do just this in the bullpen. Like, I have to be very, very detailed on exactly what she does when, to prepare her for when we're going to need her. So then when we're in the course of the game, and if she's in the lineup, I will explain to her, like, after your first at bat, I want you to go back to the bullpen, and this is how much I want you to throw. And then when you're going to be in the hole in the dugout, come back. So then she knows she doesn't feel overwhelmed and panicked and stressed and rushed. It's very spelled out on exactly how we're going to prepare her for the game.
Larissa Anderson, Mizzou Softball head coach here on the Big Show, KTGR. Abby Hay hit some home runs for you this weekend. We saw her have an excellent freshman year. Sophomore year, she started to kind of hit a few more of those struggles. As she hits junior year, what do you look for her to kind of build on, certainly from this weekend, as she started out fairly well?
The biggest thing is just consistency. Like, don't try to do too much. You don't have to be the hero. No one's expecting that other than the people in the stands. But we're not expecting her to do everything. Like, she just has to be Abby Hay, and that's just being consistent. She's a game changer, and she can be. But when we put too much pressure on her, and that's what she experienced last year, then she tries to do too much, and people are going to know that she's a feared hitter. So they're not going to give her a lot to hit. And when hitters feel like they have to hit, they start chasing balls out of the zone. And that's the last thing that we want Abby to do, is start chasing balls out of the zone. If she walks, she walks. Like, let's have the people behind her take the brunt of the load. But if she feels that no one is hitting around her, then she has to do the whole job herself. Then that's when she gets outside of herself and tries to do too much.
When you talk about some of the other younger players that are stepping up in your lineup this year, and you talked about the difference between Friday and Saturday, maybe nerves, but then being able to start to figure some things out on Saturday to put up some big numbers and a couple of wins. What kind of, was it mainly the young players that you were looking to see those steps forward right away? And how did they kind of show that to you this weekend?
There's a couple pieces. It's not strictly just the young players. The top of our lineup needs to be a little bit more productive in getting on base. And that I had Waits and Abrascato both in the 1 and 2 spot all weekend long. And one of them has to find a way to get on base. Like, we can't have Sid Forrester come up in the 3 hole and we already have 2 outs. So they have to have a little bit more quality at bats. And that doesn't mean hitting. Like, that's drawing a walk. That's, any way you possibly can to be able to get on base. So that's really where it needs to start, or I need to move them to another part of the lineup. But I'm really relying on having them in the 1 and 2 spot. I think the bottom of the lineup is doing an outstanding job. Langer and Smith have been in the 8 and the 9 hole. They're doing a great job turning that lineup over to the top. So they're doing their part. We just have to get the top to be a little bit more productive in getting on base. And we've been kind of sporadic in the middle of the lineup. And a lot of it is to try to find the continuity in the outfield. We have 9 really strong players that can play in the outfield. It's finding who works really well together, who's covering the ground that we need to cover. Where does Sid Forrester play? Because she is a really strong hitter that we're going to rely on. And she is not blessed with a lot of range in the outfield. So can we hide her a little bit in right field for the time being and get some stronger outfielders out there later on in the game? So that's why there's been a lot of back and forth and a lot of changing of the defense, just to try to figure out what is the best click.
I'm sure one of the reasons why you sign up to be in these types of tournaments too is the competition, and to try and test your group as well as you did this weekend. And certainly the pitchers that you were facing this year, you got some pretty big ones. Lindsey Grine, of course, for Oregon, and then South Alabama's pitcher did really well, I know, yesterday. Just how did you kind of see your group sort of stacking up in that sense, facing a very tough crop of pitchers and trying to use that data going forward?
We're always going to see everybody's best. Like, that's the first thing they have to realize. We're going to get everybody's best. We're going to see everybody's best. Everyone's going to try to beat you. No one's going to give you the game. So that's the first piece. I think when you look at Liberty, when we faced 4 or 5 different pitchers, it was really good to see the adjustments that they made, getting each pitcher out of the lineup and being able to make the adjustment the next pitcher they saw, because it was a completely different. That's what they're going to have to do, and that takes discipline. And they have to stay true to what is the plan with each pitcher and stay disciplined to what that plan is. They didn't have that yesterday. Yesterday's pitcher was outstanding. I mean, she's a potential All-American. They have an opportunity to win a lot of games with her in the circle. And she was so tough down in the zone. She threw this nasty drop ball that dropped 12 to 13 inches. She threw a changeup that tunneled exactly like the drop ball, that you could not see the difference in the speeds coming out of her hand. And then she threw this rise ball that was up around her eyeball. So we did not do a very good job picking one or the other. We started to chase the down pitch, and then all of a sudden she'd come up and in, and it would handcuff us a little bit. So we have to have the discipline to eliminate one of those two. We have to either look up or look down. We can't try to do both.
So as you move through this week, you'll get UCF in a true road game Wednesday, and then back to Clearwater, Florida, where you'll get another weekend with almost all Power 4 competition. So kind of the same deal as you spend this whole week in Florida with your group. Now that they've got games under their belt, how does that kind of change a little bit of how you want to see them sort of approach this week?
Tomorrow we're off today, but tomorrow we're going to have a really good practice, and that's really where it's going to start. Allow them to recover. It was a grueling 5 games with 2 in extra. Let them rest a little bit today. Tomorrow's practice is going to be really, really important to get comfortable being on dirt. Our outfield needs to see a lot of balls in the air, being able to react. I thought we were a little delayed on some of our reads in the outfield. We let some balls drop that we shouldn't have just because of our jumps. But our hitters being able to see the ball outside, and we got to be able to mix some pitches and maybe even throw Natalie Touche and Riley Mahalik at them since they didn't get any live competition, just so they can get some of that experience. We got to carry in our discipline into Wednesday, and we got to have a real good outing Wednesday on both ends of the ball and feel real good going into this weekend, because it's going to be a tough weekend. The competition is going to be great. We know we're going to get everybody's best. The crowds are going to be awesome. There isn't any easy contest. So we got to make sure that we stay disciplined and we stay to our plan.
So the Tigers again in Florida all this week. They'll be in Orlando taking on UCF 5:00 on Wednesday, and then take part in the Shriners Children's Clearwater Invitational with 5 games in 3 days. Once again, the opponents, NC State, UCLA, Northwestern, Florida Atlantic, and Duke, all on tap for Mizzou Softball this upcoming weekend. Great to catch up with Larissa Anderson of Mizzou Softball here on the Big Show KTGR. Coach, thanks again for taking the time. Again, good luck this week down in Florida, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Andy. MIZ.
ZOU, it's the Big Show on KTGR and the KTGR app. And certainly another tough slate of opponents again. UCLA in the mix there this weekend, perennially a College World Series contender every year. And then, of course, everyone will be circling the game on Sunday for Mizzou and Duke, a rematch from the Super Regionals a couple of years ago. Tigers want to exact some more revenge on the Blue Devils for that one. So we'll see how Mizzou Softball fares throughout the rest of this week. And we thank you for joining us today on the Big Show. We are back tomorrow at 4:00 to talk more Mizzou hoops, more about the NFL, our good, bad, and ugly from the Super Bowl. Don't miss any of that. He's Brenden. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Columbia has a lot of great neighborhoods, a lot of beautiful neighborhoods, and you can't replace or build new homes there, but they're aging, and the homes are